So using a basic logic lah, let's say if I wasn't a real estate agent or I'm not in this industry, when you look at real estate industry as a whole a government comes in and remove certain restrictions to the property market. Naturally, the demand will go up lah. If I'm not trained at all, I will just think, hey, okay, very simple ma. Cooling measure gone, people will start buying. So I think that is likely going to be the case, right? But by how much then? For me, I'm not very familiar with the Hong Kong market. How about you? What do you think about this type of thing? When you remove cooling measure, what will happen?
I think in Hong Kong, right? I mean, sometimes it's also sentiments. I mean, Singapore, not just Singapore, but across the world, sentiments, right, plays a lot of part. It's not very different from stock market where people are saying that it's some impulse buying, some psychological things behind it. So I think the first thing first is when government kick in with the measures, right? There is a certain level of impulsiveness, certain level of emotion, certain level of showing that, hey, there might be a change of things. So that's why I see about, cooling measures lah. And just to share also, a few weeks back I actually interviewed my professor. She's from the land of kimchi, South Korea. She was sharing with me, South Korea, right, very difficult because all the lands are privately owned, because it's freehold and stuff. The government cannot do a lot of intervention work, and they are also, if you've been to Korea before, right, there's a lot of hills there, so it's very hard, especially in Seoul area. So they are very hard for them to free up lands and stuff. A lot of the lands are privately owned. So South Korea, they want to intervene, they cannot intervene.
The conglomerates, the chaebols, are controlling a lot of real estate, right? I presume lah.
They do, and plus the private owners as well. The men on the streets, the rich people are getting richer and stuff. So it's very hard for them to intervene and stuff. So there's a lot of incentive, a lot of things that they need to do. And they look at how Singapore model it, right? They were really looking at it with envy lah. So that is what I understand from my professor from South Korea. But going back to Hong Kong and China, right? I mean, they are similar things, but they are also very different in Hong Kong and versus, like, let's go back to Singapore. So for Hong Kong, the biggest minus point, what is happening right now for the demand is this. After the China actually kick in with the National Security Act, right? That they kick in where they arrested quite a few people. A lot of Hong Kongers, in fact, I used to work in a Hong Kong company. Some of my friends, right, were thinking of leaving Hong Kong. So the organic demand, right, people who need to stay there or want to stay there actually is reducing. So that is actually their main key problem. Whereas for Singapore, right, as you know, we have 90% home ownership, about 80% stay in HDB. So Singapore, the organic demand is still relatively, I wouldn't say it's relatively strong. It is the core foundation of our housing policies, home ownership. So yes and no also in terms of comparing Singapore and Hong Kong in terms of cooling measures and the policies, housing policies. Korea is another different thing altogether because they have no control over the land. The government have no control over the land. So this is how I will analyze the market, not just to give my inputs. It's not just about, this one, like what you say, cooling measure kick in, reverse, right, means demand will go up, means wow, everybody should go in and chong. We really need to look at things from a very holistic standpoint.